What's happening in entertainment? From Tinseltown to the Big Apple, this is your weekly entertainment magazine with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Pulse of a new generation. PulseBeat.tv.
And you know, PulseBeat.tv, we like to keep it hot and happening. And although the Rosa McCauley Parks on Deacon Street has been demolished, and PulseBeat.tv, we were the very first to cover this story, the other media has also given their spin on this story that we were first to break.
Fast forward to today, and Mendoza's back. His demolition team tore down the house Rosa Parks lived in from 1957 to 1959. He'd earlier stripped out all the salvageable parts.
So it's a parquet floor, and I took out every piece of that, piece by piece, and I shipped that over. That is important. The doors that were in this house, the doorknobs that she would have had to have touched in order to open the door, all of that has been preserved. That is legacy.
Doing so at the request of Rosa Parks' niece, Rhea McCauley Parks, who wanted the home turned into a museum but could not get any traction.
Doors being slammed in my face. Very familiar to me.
$500 from the Detroit Land Bank Authority with the hopes of restoring the blighted property. McCauley's The Rosa Parks Foundation had a difficult time finding help for the restoration project.
A lot of work to take these houses down.
There's something that just happened, and I want to pat ourselves on the back because Ryan Mendoza has received national and international attention because of something that he's doing in Detroit. We said it was a teaser last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. We said it was a teaser that we were very involved in making come to life. We're on Deacon Street in Southwest Detroit, where something absolutely remarkable is going to happen with this home, and you're going to find out it's a PulseBeat.tv exclusive. Now, as a realtor, certainly you know the value of homes, and I'm just thinking, as a realtor, what would you say is the value of this particular property?
Well, I don't need to do a market comparison to tell you that this property is priceless. Because of the legacy of Miss Rosa Parks and her living in this property, it gives tons of value not only to this property, but to this community.
But let me just give you a brief history about this home. When Auntie Rosa and Grandma and Uncle Parks escaped the South, and we don't have to talk about bombs and, you know, people used to throw rocks and bricks and things and break glass and whatever where she was living. You know, she escaped from the South. She couldn't work. Nobody could work. They were not popular there. So what happened was that the churches gave her a small donation. And with that small amount of money, she moved here to this house, which is the house of my father, her brother. And we lived here in this little tiny house. Not only did our parents raise 13 people here, but it's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and we just made room. Auntie Rosa, grandmother, Uncle Parks, and we lived here. I'm telling you, it's a historic property. I can't begin to say what the civil rights movement, what she has done for the civil rights movement, for all of us in America, but this is a historic property, and so I'm trying to restore it, you know, so that it can be an educational tool for the future.
And we said that we were going to announce something that we were very involved in making come to life, and it is that Ryan Mendoza was introduced to Rhea McCauley, who happens to be the blood relative of Rosa McCauley Parks. And when Rosa left Montgomery, Alabama, Mrs. Parks, and she moved to Detroit, she moved in with her brother Sylvester McCauley on Deacon Street in Southwest Detroit. Now, the home in which she lived, which has become blighted, Ryan Mendoza has deconstructed that home, and he's taking it to Europe.
Wait a minute.
And he turned it into an art piece.
I remember when a house was transported. Was it that house?
It was that. Well, now this is the second house. The first house was on Sober.
Didn't he transport one too?
Yes, he did on. It was to Rotterdam. He did it, and also Belgium. And nothing is hotter or more happening than standing on Stopel Street in front of this deconstructed house. And it has been shipped direct to Europe where it's on exhibition.
Pretty exciting day for us. 2 hours. It's all in the truck. We can close it up and then we can tell everybody that we did this. Because otherwise, had we said this to anybody, they would have stopped us. No doubt.
This is the second house in Detroit that he has deconstructed the home on Deacon Street in Southwest Detroit, where Rosa McCauley Parks was living with the McCauley family, her brother's family, Sylvester McCauley. He has deconstructed that home. He is turning it into a monument of international importance, and it's to be celebrated. And he said he really didn't want to do it, but he wanted to know, why did we allow this home that was so historical to become so blighted?
This house either gets demolished and then it's not there anymore for people to talk about the legacy of Rosa Parks, or you refurbish it and rent it out, or I mean, if you want to refurbish, it's going to cost a lot of money. And then you have to see if it's makes any sense for it to be a museum here on the street. And you know, when Rhea came to me and said, you know, could you do something with this house? I said, let's get it over to Europe, let's sell it to a museum, and let's get money back to the Rosa Parks Foundation, and then everybody wins. So that's what I'm here to do. People might get angry that the black community wasn't able to resolve this thing themselves, and that I should come in and once again remove, as you said, remove a house, that it could be problematic and that my legacy might be in jeopardy.
I wanted to pick it up myself, but then I thought, oh, somebody else will pick it up and keep it here, you know, because during that time when I thought about it, my plate was full and I couldn't right then. But I keep driving by here watching it, and I noticed the other historical house there has been repaired. I said, well, maybe somebody will pick it up. I had no idea that they would move it away. None whatsoever. If I had, I would have gone head on and picked it up, you know. Right. Because I just hate to see it go. It hurts me.
Out of love. That's what it's about. And people in Detroit, they've got to see this. They've got to see it. But this is a new beginning. And people say, oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. This is the beginning of an excellent future. Yep. I've got a company that's going to engrave these bricks, and as people do donations to the Family Foundation, we'll create a yellow brick road back in the backyard with their names on it, all the donors. And there'll be a pathway right through the backyard, right through the garden. These bricks are going to live in infamy.
Although the Deacon Street home of Rosa McCauley Parks has been demolished and is no longer here in its physical state, the spirit of Rosa McCauley Parks is going to live on forever. This site now will be an urban garden, and it will be a remembrance that the great Rosa McCauley Parks lived in Detroit, in Southwest Detroit on Deacon Street. And the other media which has covered this story, it should be noted that Postbeat.tv, we were the very first ones to cover it, and we're going to continue to cover this story as the great Rosa McCauley Parks' home, in which she lived on Deacon Street with her brother Sylvester, is now in Europe. It's a fascinating story, and we're going to let you know the story as it's being told all over the world.
Nestled among Berlin's apartment blocks, the home of an American civil rights icon. This house was moved from Detroit, where Rosa Parks lived after her act of defiance helped end the segregation laws in America's South. It was 1955 when the seamstress on her way home from work refused to give up her seat for a white passenger. Little did she know it would make her a face of the civil rights movement. So when a Berlin-based artist discovered her home was to be demolished, he had it transported to Germany, piece by piece.
This house really belongs in the United States. It doesn't belong here. But because it is here, more people will have the opportunity to think about why it was that the house was put on the demolition list to begin with. So America lost this house, and America has to do something powerful in order to get it back.
Berlin, Berlin, hier lebt der Mensch gefährlich und rutscht er aus, dann dreht sich keiner doch haut er hin, dann ist der Beifall ehrlich. Berlin, Berlin, du bist mein Publikum.
How did you came to this idea?
Fortunately, Pulse Beat TV, it's a small television channel in Detroit. Joel Boykin and Greg Dunmore from Pulse Beat, they saw some of the artwork that I was doing. I had taken a different house back to Europe with me, and they wanted to know, was I exploiting the city or was I trying to save memories from the city? And they decided that I was not a monster, and they introduced me to McCauley, who's the niece of Rosa Parks.
Now, we're about to start a new season, and we're going to be asking you to do something very, very important. Stay tuned.
Pulse of a new generation. PulseBeat.tv.